hands. Are we the baddies?
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Welcome back to the Drive Home Reviews podcast, where I review the movies I have just seen as I'm driving home from the theater. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I basically decided to review this movie so that I could use those two sound clips at the beginning. I'm being dead serious. I was sitting around and, having a nice lazy Saturday and just saw it, and I was like, well, I have these sound clips I could use for it. So that's essentially the only reason I decided to watch this movie. So I don't have a whole lot to say about it, a whole lot of thoughts to get into. But I will say that I'm being a little disingenuous there. I did enjoy the first Bad Guys, as I recall. I remember seeing it in the theater and was pretty entertained by it, which is rare. I don't go into this as much as I go into my unenthusiastic nature about Pixar movies, but I'm also not a huge DreamWorks guy. I think for that it's because I've aged out of it. I think that the DreamWorks films tend to skew younger, despite what they say. Despite something like Shrek, and they're like, oh, it's got adult humor in it too. Yeah, fart jokes. Wow, real adult. Pop culture references, because yay, that thing existed is a joke. So yeah, I've never been a huge one for DreamWorks. And again, it's not that I don't like them, it's just I think that their product is aimed at a group much younger than I am, and they came about at a time when they were connecting with people a lot younger than I was. So things like Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon, The Croods, the Ice Age movies, I get that these are things that people grew up with, and so they have a much stronger bond with them than I do. So I've been aware of DreamWorks, sorry. And I have enjoyed some of their stuff. The one that I do like, ironically, A Monsters vs. Aliens. I say ironically because I always say that the only Pixar movie I really like is Monsters, Inc. So kind of a correlation there, but that one was kind of right up my alley with the, kind of a tribute to old B movies, which I love. So that one really, struck the right chord with me just at the right time. So going and seeing the Bad Guys originally and actually enjoying it is kind of a big thing for me. I liked that the humor did feel a little bit more, I'd say it was more adolescent than youth. And that's not a bad thing. Please do not misconstrue that. Adolescent humor is just fine. But as opposed to kind of aiming lower, I think it was aiming at kind of that preteen, early teen kind of mentality, aping off like the Fast and Furious movies, the Ocean's 11 films. I liked the aesthetic. I liked that, whereas all the other ones were kind of these colorful environments. The main landscape was a town that was very kind of, I don't know, kind of brown and grayish and polluted, and so it had a unique aesthetic. I liked the animation style of the first one, and I thought that the story was pretty fun and pretty enjoyable. Goofy and predictable, but it's a kids movie, so what are you wanting here? The fucking plot to Hamlet?
What do you want? Tell me what you want. Well, I'll tell you what you want. You want nothing.
How miserable do I have to be before you're happy?
So if I was ever going to enjoy a sequel to a DreamWorks film, it was probably going to be this one. And I did. I thought that it was more of the same. Everything that was fun about the first movie is still fun about this one. The characters are still very interesting. The different personalities create neat dynamics. The animation style is still really fluid, and this nice mix of reality and a world where anthropomorphic animals walk around and everyone's just kind of like, okay, that's a thing, you know. So yeah, everything that was fun about the first one is still fun. I'm really not sure what to say about this movie. Like, I could point out things like the villain's ultimate goal makes no fucking sense in the long run. You know, that it kind of has an underpants gnome quality.
You see, phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit.
Oh, I get it. No, you don't, fat ass.
You know, so the ultimate goal is to use this stuff, which I do think is funny, MacGuffinite or something like that, which I think that was clever. Better than unobtainium. I thought that was funny. Which is like the magnetic opposite of gold, so when you connect it to space magic, it'll attract all the gold on the planet, and the bad guys, or the actual villains of the piece, I should say, are gonna, suck all the gold in the world up to them. That sounds great, but what are you gonna do with it after? Like, are you just doing it to do it? Are you like the Joker?
Some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
But are you actually planning on spending it? Because then you have to get it back down to the planet, which all the gold in the world, that's a lot. Someone's going to fucking notice that. And even let's say you do get it down onto the planet, and you now have all the gold in the world. How are you going to spend that? Like, if you have all the gold in the world, people are going to suddenly notice that gold is slowly, like, coming back into circulation, even if it's through underground or clandestine or criminal means. They're going to notice that, and they're going to be able to trace it back to you. This isn't something you're going to get away with if you're actually planning on spending it. And yeah, I could point all that out, but it's pointless. That's not the point. It's a cartoon. But I point that out because I actually think that would have been funnier if they had actually done it, and then kind of someone pointed out, well, what do you do with it now? And didn't think that far ahead. That would actually have been funny to kind of, because I'm of that age. I remember, like, cartoon villains from like Saturday morning cartoons and their diabolical plans to rule the world. I remember an episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where they actually went to an alternate dimension where the Shredder had taken over the world, and he hated it because taking over the world means like managing everything. And he's in like a suit, and he's still got the helmet and the gauntlets on, and he's like, this ruling the world is terrible, it's awful, I hate it, So I'm just saying that might have been funny to kind of see. Anyway, I'm off track, but again, there's not a lot to get into with this. The voice acting is all great. I have to say, a plus in its favor. This is the least irritated I've been by an Awkwafina performance. I feel I can say this freely now. I know that back in the day there was a nagging voice behind me that would say, you can't say you don't like Awkwafina because she's this and this and this. It's like, what does any of that have to do with her being annoying? She's annoying. I don't like her. I don't like her not because of any of these other issues. It's just she herself is fucking annoying. So and she's kind of like the female Chris Pratt in terms of voice work. For some reason, every fucking cartoon has to have her in it. And I at least understand her a little bit better than I understand Chris Pratt, because she at least has a unique voice. He has a doofy-ass voice. Why are we casting him and everything? Why am I getting off on this? This has absolutely nothing to do with anything.
I'm sorry, it's my problem. I'll deal with it.
But again, I'm saying the voice cast is good. Sam Rockwell is really good. Sam Rockwell is just a very charismatic person, even through his voice. And he brings just this really great cartoon energy to Wolf. So having him as that leading character in this is a wise choice, and he's very good. They're all very good. The only thing I can say, this is the only thing I'm really I can talk about in terms of this, is because I know that these Pixar movies, I keep saying Pixar, I'm sorry. I know that these DreamWorks movies have a knack for, spawning a lot of sequels. I mean, this 2026, we're getting Shrek 5, I think. I don't know how many Ice Age movies there are. I think there's at least 3, if not more, How to Train Your Dragons. So some of these movies can get pretty deep into their own lore, which is impressive. Even Disney doesn't do that. Disney usually does 2, maybe 3 at the outset, and that's it. And that's rare. So that you have kind of an animation studio that does kind of do serialized storytelling, it does kind of build on its own foundations. So I think as a direct sequel to the first one, this one is pretty good. The story makes sense that the bad guys have gone good, but they're having trouble assimilating into the world because the world doesn't want to trust them, because who wants to hire former bank robbers to work for you? So you get that. And they do their sequel baiting. They set it up. They set it up that they're going to go be secret agents, so now they can do high-tech heists and stuff and be good guys that way. So you know where they're going. But I guess the only thing I would say, as it relates to the future of this particular franchise, is that I think if you're going to go forward and do more of these, then my suggestion is going to be to make sure that you kind of take some time and start developing some of these other characters. Because as much fun as this movie is, and as enjoyable as it is, the characters really don't move from where they were at the end of the first movie. They're no different from really where they were. So, and that's fine. Again, that's okay for the kind of sequel this is, for the kind of film series this is. That all makes sense. That's fine and dandy. You want more of the same. So I get that. But if you're gonna try next to go to Bad Guys 3 and 4 and however many you can get out of it until the property dries up, I would recommend that maybe taking some of these characters who have been primarily comic relief, like Shark or Piranha or even Tarantula, and maybe expanding them out a little bit, making them maybe the focal point of the story. Everybody badmouths Cars 2 with good reason, because the Cars movies are terrible. But I actually did think that they made a smart choice by making Mater the lead and making it his movie, as opposed to Lightning McQueen, who's a pretty boring protagonist to begin with. So letting Maynard kind of take center stage and have him have an arc and him have an adventure, I thought that was a good choice. I really did. Even though the movie is irritating, I still thought it was the right choice. And I think that maybe that's something they can get more into if they decide to push forward and make this a full-blown franchise, which clearly with the way this one ends, that's what they want. So yeah, I do think that this is a fun movie. I had a good time watching it. It was, I was never insulted by it. I was never bored by it. I wasn't a huge fan of the piranha fart jokes, but I'm just not a fan of fart jokes in general. So that's just me being a fuddy-duddy, so I get that. But, you know, in the realm of movies that you can take your kids to and that you, the adult, can enjoy as well, I'd say this one ranks pretty high up there. I can see a family having a good time watching this together, either at home or in the theater. So yeah, you could do a lot worse. It was pleasant and fun and enjoyable. That's all you can really ask from a movie like this. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. So what's the final grade for The Bad Guys 2? I give it a B. Solid B. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. You know, it's more original than the fucking Smurfs. So, you know, you've got that. So yeah, maybe if you're looking for something to do with the kids while they're home and you haven't seen this one, cue it up on Peacock. Have a good time. All right. So there you have it. That is my review for The Bad Guys 2. So thank you for coming along. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening. And as always, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.